The first drop of rain fell just as the dog stopped moving, and for a moment the entire lawn went silent, the kind of heavy, suffocating silence that makes your chest tighten. Elena's hands trembled as she knelt on the wet grass, her uniform stained and her breath unsteady, watching the powerful man in the gray suit stand over the animal like it was nothing more than a broken toy. In that cold instant, wealth looked cruel, power felt empty, and hope seemed miles away. Before we begin, if you believe the world still needs kindness and second chances, take a second to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Elena had arrived at the estate 6 months earlier, carrying nothing but a small suitcase and a promise to herself that she would endure anything to build a better life. The mansion stretched across rolling green hills like a fortress, owned by Victor Hale, a real estate tycoon known for buying neighborhoods and reshaping skylines. To the outside world, he was a symbol of success. Inside those gates, he was unpredictable, cold, and obsessed with control. Elena worked quietly, cleaning marble floors and polishing silverware while trying to stay invisible. The only comfort she found was in Max, her loyal dog who waited for her at the servants' quarters every night, wagging his tail like the world was still kind. Max had once been a stray she rescued from a roadside, thin and afraid but fiercely protective. Over time he became her silent strength, sensing her sadness before she spoke a word. Whenever Victor's voice echoed down the hall, sharp and impatient, Max would press his head against her knee as if reminding her she wasn't alone. But kindness rarely survives in places ruled by pride. Victor disliked anything that disrupted his perfect image, and a dog roaming near his luxury estate was, in his eyes, an inconvenience that didn't belong. The incident began on a gray afternoon when guests arrived at the mansion for a private gathering. Expensive cars lined the driveway, laughter floated through the air, and Elena hurried between tasks, trying to avoid drawing attention. Max slipped out of the quarters and followed her onto the lawn, curious and playful. What should have been a harmless moment turned tense when Victor noticed the dog near his guests. His smile faded, replaced by a cold glare that sent a chill through everyone nearby. Elena rushed forward, panic rising in her chest, but she was too late to stop the humiliation that followed. Max's tail stopped wagging, and Elena's world felt like it shattered in slow motion. Pain and fear spread through her like fire, not just for herself but for the loyal companion who had never hurt anyone. The crowd stood awkwardly, unsure whether to intervene or pretend nothing was wrong. In that moment Elena realized how isolating wealth could be, surrounded by people yet completely alone. She held Max close, whispering silent prayers that he would be okay, her eyes filled with tears she tried desperately to hide. The sky darkened, and the wind carried a distant rumble that felt almost symbolic, like the world itself was preparing for change. Across the field, a man in military fatigues approached with steady steps, accompanied by a German shepherd walking calmly at his side. He had been invited by one of the guests, a former service member who respected discipline more than status. The man's presence was quiet but powerful, his posture straight and his gaze observant. He noticed Elena's distress instantly, as if years of training had taught him to recognize pain others ignored. The dog beside him moved forward gently, ears alert yet calm, sensing the tension that lingered in the air. The arrival shifted the energy of the gathering. Conversations hushed, and Victor's confident posture faltered slightly under the watchful eyes of someone who seemed unimpressed by wealth or intimidation. The Navy SEAL didn't raise his voice or create a scene. Instead, he stood firm, offering silent reassurance that cruelty would not go unnoticed. Elena felt a strange sense of relief wash over her, like a storm finally meeting resistance after raging unchecked. As Max lay still, the SEAL's dog knelt beside him, nudging softly, a gesture that felt almost human. Elena's hands shook, but hope flickered in her chest. The SEAL's calm actions reminded everyone present that strength didn't come from money or power but from compassion and courage. Victor's confident smile began to fade, replaced by uncertainty as the atmosphere shifted from admiration to quiet judgment. Even the guests who once laughed now looked uneasy, realizing that silence made them part of the cruelty. Moments later, help arrived, and Max was carefully lifted, his breathing shallow but steady. Elena stayed close, her heart pounding with every second. The SEAL offered steady support, guiding the situation without aggression, showing that true authority didn't need to shout. For the first time since she arrived at the estate, Elena felt seen. Not as a servant but as a human being worthy of respect. The lawn that once felt like a stage for humiliation slowly transformed into a place of accountability. Days passed, and the story spread beyond the estate walls. People who once admired Victor began questioning his character, and the illusion of perfection he had built started to crack. Elena found herself surrounded by unexpected support from strangers who believed kindness mattered more than status. Max recovered slowly, his eyes still bright despite everything he endured, and every wag of his tail felt like a small victory over fear. The Navy SEAL visited often, not as a hero seeking praise but as someone who understood the weight of standing up for what was right. His presence gave Elena the courage to imagine a future beyond the mansion's gates. She realized that strength wasn't about enduring silence, it was about choosing dignity even when the world tried to take it away. Victor, once untouchable, faced consequences that forced him to confront the reality of his actions, proving that power without compassion eventually collapses under its own weight. As the sun set one evening, Elena stood on the same lawn where her worst moment had unfolded. The air felt lighter, the grass greener, and Max ran freely beside her, no longer afraid. She reflected on how quickly life could change when someone decided to intervene with courage instead of indifference. The experience didn't erase her scars, but it gave them meaning, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, kindness can arrive unexpectedly. If this story has touched your heart so far, please pause for a second and write the word HOPE in the comments. It helps spread positivity and lets us know you're watching until the end. Elena eventually left the estate, starting a new chapter filled with small joys and genuine respect. She learned that true wealth isn't measured by buildings or bank accounts but by the way people treat those who have less power. Max stayed by her side, a symbol of resilience, while the memory of the SEAL's quiet bravery reminded her that heroes often appear without warning. Before we close, if this journey moved you or reminded you that compassion still exists in the world, please like the video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and leave a heartfelt comment below. Your engagement helps stories of hope reach more people who might be struggling silently. As Elena walked toward her new life, the sky cleared, and the rain finally stopped, leaving behind a calm that felt earned rather than given. Proof that even after pain, healing is possible when someone chooses to stand up for kindness.